Hello, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be jumping into Daniel chapter 10, and hopefully we'll finish it up today. We've been cutting off one chapter literally every single day. So hopefully we can get through 10, 11, and 12 today. Let me get the text up on screen. Let me make sure we're not lagging here. Okay, we're good. We're perfect. So let me get the text up on screen here. Where are we? All right, there we go. All right, we got the text up. So we've been jumping through multiple different visions in Daniel. That's why it's been taking a whole lot of time, because we have multiple different interpretations of these visions. It's like, I would say honestly, even more than Isaiah, because Isaiah we got visions and we got prophecies, but here it's just back to back. So we first talked about the vision of the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had, that interpretation, the prophecy of the statue and the different kingdoms. And then we jumped into the four beasts coming out of the water. Then we talked about yesterday the 7 weeks, the 70 weeks prophecy. Is it even 70 weeks? We talked about, what was it? Another vision. The ram and the goat. That was easier to understand. But the others, multiple interpretations. And the interpretations can get pretty widespread. And just like Isaiah, they could have a near future fulfillment or a far future fulfillment. So, yesterday we were saying that it would be best to do multiple like individual videos on these topics instead of we're covering it over here in these Bible study sessions, but in order to get the full experience, to delve into it deeply, we got to focus a set amount of time on them individually. So we'll have different videos on those topics, but for now we're jumping into yet another vision, the vision of the glorious man. So without further ado, let's find out who this glorious man is.
In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar. The message was true, but the appointed time was long. And he understood the message.
Let me pause real quick. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar. So Cyrus is king of Persia at this point. We were just coming off of Darius being
king. His name was called Belteshazzar. The message was true, but the appointed time was long. And he understood the message and had understanding of the vision.
So this is glorious man
In
Cyrus?
those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant food, no meat or wine came into my mouth. Nor did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. Now, on the 24th day of
So
the
he
first
regularly
month,
anointed himself
as I was by the side of the great river, that is, the Tigris,
prior to this period.
I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose waist was girded with gold of Uphaz. His body was like beryl,
We saw that man
his
clothed
face
in
like
linen
the
before.
appearance of lightning, his eyes like torches of fire.
Right. This is reminding me of what Ezekiel saw. Let me see what my Bible's got to say. Let's see if they make that connection.
His arms and
Come on. My Bible clicked play. A certain man is either an appearance of a pre-incarnate Christ or an angel. The description that follows suggests that this individual is Christ. The description of the man here is very much like Ezekiel's description of the glory of God. There we go. So they made the same connection. And John's description of the triumphant risen Christ. We'll find out about that in Revelation.
His eyes like torches of fire, his arms and feet like burnished bronze in color, and the sound of his words like the voice of a multitude. And
Imagine that, man.
Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men who were with me did.
So we were talking about in Ezekiel, if like how credible were those visions, in the sense that yes, 100%. Okay, let's say Ezekiel did see that, but how does it reflect reality? Like there was a portion where God gave Ezekiel the scroll with his words and told Ezekiel to put it in his mouth and eat it, and the scroll was sweet. So you could look at it that metaphorically, like God put his words in Ezekiel's mouth so that he can preach what God, like preaching God's words, right? Like he was inspired by God's words, and what God said, his message was sweet. You could take it like that, or you could take it literally, like that's literally what occurred in his vision, right? And so looking at that, you can move on to what Ezekiel saw with the living creatures, and then the cherubim, right? The description that he gave, and the description of God, right? We were talking about, okay, so is that how these living creatures, these cherubim, actually look like in real life? Do they actually have 4 heads? Do they actually look like they're glowing, like burning coal? Do they have these wheels that are spinning around them or beside them? You know, do they have lightning coming out of them and whatnot? Is that what they really look like? And so what I was talking about, okay, so Ezekiel saw that figure twice, 2 times, right? So if it was just in a vision, or if it was even a hallucination, would you see the same specific details twice over? And then now look, Daniel is seeing something very similar. Not talking about the cherubim or the living creatures, but when Ezekiel is describing that figure of the man, aka God, right, up on his throne, it's very similar to this. So this gives credibility to what Ezekiel saw as well, because they're seeing something very similar. So that's really interesting. Like imagine, like man, because we think, oh, we're gonna see Jesus and this is what he's gonna look like, but these guys are seeing what could be Jesus or God. His body was like beryl. Okay, beryl. Wait. What is beryl? Was that color that we saw in Ezekiel? This was the color of the rings that Ezekiel saw. So it is not exactly the same. Okay, let me read this description again. His body was like beryl. His face was like the appearance of lightning. We did see the lightning. Ezekiel mentioned the lightning. The eyes like torches of fire. We did get a mention of, like, his entire being was like fiery, right? Or was it from the waist down? Or it was something. I don't want to jump back into Ezekiel again, but there was a fiery like appearance. His arms and his feet were burnished bronze in color, and the sound of his words like the voice of a multitude. And Ezekiel made a distinct reference to his voice as well. But his body was like beryl. I don't believe we got that in Ezekiel. I feel like the only reference to the color or likening to beryl was the wheels that Ezekiel saw. So, but everything else seems to be like, similar. This is interesting. Honestly, might as well throw this in the pile. There's another vision we're looking at. Might as well throw it in the pile. Like do a comparison, compare and contrast with what Ezekiel saw. Actually, let me look it up right now. If someone actually did a compare and a contrast side by side, vision of a glorious man, Ezekiel. Do you just have a visual representation of what? Yeah, because I don't remember the barrel in the figure. Yeah, we'll look at it on our own separately. We'll do a comparison on compare and contrast on the two.
Daniel alone saw the vision, for the men who were with me did not see the vision. But a great terror fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone when I saw this great vision, and no strength remained in me, for my vigor.
So I'm assuming he saw this while he was awake. He said, and I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men who were with me did not see the vision, but a great terror fell upon them. So they fled and hid themselves, fled to hide themselves, right? So I'm assuming that this has happened while everybody was awake, and Daniel saw this vision, and the other people felt something. They felt this great terror due to some presence, God's presence there, and they ran away. So it didn't happen while he was asleep and he was dreaming. I forgot who made the distinction, but someone said made the distinction between a vision and a night vision.
And no strength remained in me, for my vigor was turned to frailty in me, and I retained no strength. Yet I heard the sound of his words, and while I heard the sound of his words, I was in a deep sleep on my face, with my face to the ground.
Oh, he was sleeping,
Suddenly,
I guess.
a hand touched me, which made me tremble on my knees and on the palms of my hands. And he said to me,
O Daniel, man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak to you, and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you.
While
So
he
this is
was
not
speaking
God.
this word to me, I stood trembling. Then he said to me,
Do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, and behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left alone there with the kings of Persia.
That was I think this is the first reference to Michael ever. So then he said to me, Do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, and your words were heard, and I have come because of your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. And behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. For I had been left alone there with the kings of Persia. So who is this speaking to Daniel? I'm curious. And also, I've heard Michael being synonymous with Jesus. I don't know how true that is. That Jesus' other name is Michael. 10. Let's go to 10:12 and see. It doesn't touch on 10:12, but it goes into 13. So let me just read what my Bible's got to say. So the prince of the kingdom of Persia, the prince of Persia, cannot be a human ruler because the conflict referred to here is in the spiritual heavenly realm, as the allusion to Michael makes clear. Do not fear, Daniel, for the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard. And I have come because of your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. And behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. So what is this? What is the prince of the kingdom of Persia here? And what does it mean? He withstood me 21 days. And Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help. Let's see if this commentary can shed some more light. The prince, therefore, must be understood as a satanic figure who was to supervise the affairs of Persia, inspiring its religious, social, and political structures to works of evil. Okay. I've heard a theory like this where all these pagan nations, they prayed to their idols, but they obviously needed a reason to believe in their idols, right? I mean, they couldn't have been that dumb where their craftsmen are creating these figures out of wood and stone and metal, and they're praying to them thinking that, okay, they're holy, right? So the theory is, what if they're actually praying to some demonic entity or some fallen angel, and that was their God, you know? Because here, my Bible's commentary is saying, I'll read that again. The prince, therefore, must be understood as a satanic figure who was to supervise the affairs of Persia, inspiring its religious, social, and political structures to works of evil. So if you had, I don't know, one of the fallen angels acting as, you have like, they were different rulers of the different pagan nations. I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting theory. But I don't like how my Bible is saying the prince, therefore, must be understood as a satanic figure who was to supervise the affairs of Persia. Like they're saying, it has to be this. I don't know. Well, how do you guys take this? How would you interpret this? But let me continue to read their point of view here. The Apostle Paul refers to the principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of this age, and spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. The man here says he was detained for 21 days, which equals the time of Daniel's mourning and fasting. The wicked prince of Persia sought to detain the man so that Daniel would be prevented from hearing more of God's revelation. Oh. Michael seems to be one of the most powerful angels. He is mentioned 3 times in the Old Testament, in Daniel, chapter 21 as well, in Daniel, chapter 12, as we will see, and twice in the New Testament, Jude and Revelation. Let me look up another commentary here. What verse was this? 12. The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me. Since this prince was able to oppose the angelic messenger to David, we know this was more than a man. Or by saying he withstood me, could it be like, no matter how much, like how the children of Israel themselves withstood God, no matter what God said, trying to bring, him trying to bring them to him, gave them multiple warnings. They still was stuck in their ways, so they withstood God in that sense. Could it be that way? Could you look at it that way? It says, since this prince was able to oppose the angelic messenger to Daniel, we know this was more than a man. This prince was some kind of angelic being. And we know he was an evil angelic being because he opposed the word of God coming to Daniel and stood against the angelic messenger. Or what was the state of Daniel in this time period? Maybe the king of Persia mistreated Daniel, blocked him off, like, or tortured him continuously. I don't know. I probably not. But I'm just saying there's multiple ways where this could be interpreted. That I feel like I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm studying. But I'm not sure about the fact. I'm just not sure about the fact. I guess I don't know enough to be like, hey, this prince of Persia is definitely not a man and some sort of heavenly angelic, something greater than a man. I'm not entirely sure about that. Therefore, I can't come to a conclusion yet. I need more information. But what do you guys think? The prince was some kind of angelic being. And we know he was an evil angelic being because he opposed the word of God coming to Daniel and stood against the angelic messenger. The word prince has the idea of a ruler or authority. This fits in well with the New Testament idea that angelic ranks are organized and have a hierarchy. These angelic ranks seem to include both faithful angels and fallen angels. So this seems to be coming along with the theory that I just mentioned. Apparently, this was a demon of high rank that opposed the answer to prayer. So, demons can stop our prayers from reaching God? I don't want to believe that. On 3 occasions, Jesus referred to Satan as the prince of this world. Withstood me 21 days. Since the angel was dispatched immediately, and Daniel's period of prayer and self-denial was 21 days, 3 full weeks, we see that the answer to the prayer was delayed by the prince of the kingdom of Persia. The correlation between Daniel's time of self-denial and prayer and the duration of the battle between angels and the prince of the kingdom of Persia establish a link between Daniel's prayer and the angelic victory. Since the angelic victory came on the 21st day, we can surmise that if Daniel would have stopped praying on the 20th day, the answer may not have come. There may be hindering factors of which a praying Christian knows nothing, as he wonders why the answers to his requests are delayed. Nevertheless, he is to keep on praying. It may be that he will not receive an answer because he has given up on the 20th day, when he should have persisted to the 21st day. So it's making it seem like we're using angels as a mediator. And the demons can block the angels, therefore our prayers don't reach God. I don't know about that interpretation. I don't know. What do you guys think? Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. In other passages, Michael is associated with the battle between good angels and evil angels. Came to help me. This phrase may be the most compelling reason to think that this me is not Jesus. Despite the remarkable similarity between the certain man of Daniel 10 and the vision of Jesus in Revelation 1, though Jesus received angelic assistance as an incarnate man, it is difficult to think of him needing or receiving angelic help. before the incarnation. Now I have come. What was the context for that? Now I have come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision refers to many days yet to come. God allowed this kind of conflict because he had a purpose in allowing it. He certainly could have blasted away in a moment any demonic opposition. God's plan probably was to use the time of delay to develop Daniel as a man of persistent prayer. Okay, so this is addressing one of my questions I just had. Persistence in prayer is necessary, but not because God is reluctant and needs to be overcome. Rather, it is necessary to train us. Daniel's success makes us reflect on our failures. How much angelic assistance or insight has never been realized or greatly delayed because of a lack of persistence in prayer? Let me see. I want to see another commentary. Let's go to Bible Hub because they got a whole bunch of different commentaries. Verse 12, right? Well, verse 12, where does it get to it? 13. Let's look at 13. The prince of the kingdom. Perhaps no single verse in the whole of scriptures speaks more clearly than this upon the invisible powers which rule and influence nations. If we were without a revelation, we should have thought it congruent that God himself should direct, let me make this a little bigger, should direct all events in the world without using any intervening means. But Revelation points out that as spiritual beings carry out God's purpose in the natural world and in the moral world, so also do in the political world. From this chapter, we not only learn that Israel had a spiritual champion to protect her in her national life and to watch over her interests, but also that the powers opposed to Israel had their princes or saviors, which were antagonists of those who watched over Israel. The princes of the heathen powers are devils. Okay. We're calling these princes of these nations, right? So we talked about princes of these nations before. And some commentaries were talking about how those could be the kings, or, since and they're just referring to the kings as princes for some reason, or it's something like this. The princes of the heathen powers are devils, according to 1 Corinthians 10:20. The doctrine of the ministry of angels is taught in all those. Dang. What do you guys think? Do you think that's crazy? That's fallen angels are ruling the nations. That's really crazy to think about. And if you think about it like that, that's probably why God is so much against and he hates idolatry. Because if it was just, hey, this loser, this weirdo, this guy is just praying to some piece of stone, what is he thinking? He's dumb. But in actuality, if we're going by this, they're not just praying to figures that they created. They're praying to demons, to fallen angels. And that makes it a whole lot worse. I mean, it's already bad either way you look at it, because, I mean, you're taking something else as before God, but it takes it onto a whole other level when you think about it as, hey, this guy's praying to an idol, a figure that he created, or he's actually praying to a fallen angel, a demon. Yeah. Because one is misguided. You could look at it as misguided, lost, confused, and the other is full blown, you're satanic. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia opposed me. Here we go, another interpretation that it is not a heavenly type being. This is thought by some to be Cambyses, the son of Cyrus, entrusted with the management of affairs in the court of Persia, when his father was absent on some expedition, and set against the Jews by their enemies, and now endeavoring to embarrass their affairs. Over his designs the angel had been watching in order to defeat them. Others thought there is an allusion in this verse, and at Daniel chapter 10 verse 20 to the guardian or tutelary angels of different countries, which doctrine seems to be countenanced by some passages in Scripture, and especially by Zechariah in chapter Daniel 6:5. Let's see what Daniel 6:5 said. Then these men said, "We shall not find any charge against Daniel unless we find it against him concerning the law of his God." I don't know how that ties in. Grotius is of this opinion, and Bishop Newcomb, on the last mentioned place, refers to the passage before us, that there were such tutelar angels. What does tutelar mean? Having the guardianship or charge of protecting a person or a thing. So those fallen angels that are ruling over these nations. Let me see if there's another interpretation. I mean, there can only be two, right? An actual prince of Persia, or the other interpretation, which is this heavenly being. The Prince of Persia, its patron or guardian angel, the doctrine of tutelary, same thing, okay. Presiding over the destinies of particular nations. Okay, so we get pretty much the two different interpretations here. Which way do you guys lean towards? So Michael is the patron angel of the Jews, and then I don't know where this comes from. Maybe we'll see more in Daniel 12. But so these are where like the guardian angels come from. So each of these cities have this angel watching over them. And some of these nations prayed to these angels. Some of them prayed to God.
And behold, my words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. And behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left alone there with the kings of Persia. Now I have come...
Okay. Referring to Michael as one of the chief princes right after we refer to the prince of the kingdom of Persia. And Michael is definitely an angel. I mean, it doesn't explicitly say Michael is an angel, but I'm pretty sure Michael is an angel. Because we have, we could be, because we're within the same context, I can see how this could be looked at as an angel as well.
There with the kings of Persia. Now I have come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision refers to many days yet to come.
When he had spoken such words to me, I turned my face toward the ground and became speechless.
Yeah, I bet.
And suddenly, one having the likeness of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spoke, saying to him who stood before me, "My Lord, because of the vision my sorrows have overwhelmed me, and I have retained no strength. For how can this servant of my Lord talk with you, my Lord? As for me, no strength remains in me now, nor is any breath left in me." Then again.
So is this one having the likeness of the sons of men a different figure? Because it's like, and suddenly one having the likeness of the sons of men touched my lips. Not, he didn't refer to the same guy who's just talking. So could this be Jesus also? Because I remember we were just talking about how having the likeness of, there was another figure with the likeness of a son of man. Could be an angel, could be Jesus. Right? We had people have different interpretations, so that could be tied to this as well.
The one having the likeness of a man touched me and strengthened me. And he said,
O man greatly beloved, fear not. Peace be to you. Be strong. Yes, be strong.
So when he spoke to me, I was strengthened, and said, "Let my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me." Then he said,
Do you know why I have come to you? And now I must return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I have gone forth, indeed the prince of Greece will come. But I will tell you what is noted in the scripture of truth. No one upholds me against these, except Michael, your prince.
If you think about it like that, like Michael, your prince, there's no Prince Michael for the Israelites. So Michael is an angel. And just like that commentary said, let's say Michael is in charge of Israel. Like he is Israel's prince, Israel's angel. And so there's a prince, an angel for Persia. There's one for Greece. So there's one for each nation. That's really cool to think about. Holy. What? So this prince of Persia, he seems to not like God, right? So could he be a fallen angel? And if so, why is he a fallen angel? If God put Michael as the prince of Israel, wouldn't he have placed all of his angels over the earth? Why would he let a fallen angel take a place? You know? How does that work? Does my Bible talk about anything here? It does. Let's see what it says. Just as Persia was under the ultimate dominion of an evil spirit from Satan, so was Greece. Once the prince of Persia was overcome, the messenger would enter into conflict with the prince of Greece. The succession of world powers follows the pattern of Daniel's second vision. God chose Michael, the archangel, to be a prince in his kingdom on earth. I didn't know this. I did not know this. This is really interesting. What do you guys think about this? This is really interesting. I didn't know. I didn't even know about this. I want to know you guys' opinions, your thoughts. Did you know about this? Do you believe this? That there are angels that are responsible for different regions of earth? And also, why are some of them bad and some of them good? If they're all, that means they're not all God's angels. And why are they not all God's angels? I mean, I don't think these are questions that we can answer, but we can speculate at least.
Also, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I, stood up to confirm and strengthen him. And now I will tell you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and the...
So here we're talking kings. Three kings. Was that Greece or Persia with the horns? There was no. That was the one horn and then four horns coming out of it or something like that, right? It was also let me see if my Bible has a commentary. Then I don't have to look. The first year of Darius. This is the same year as that of the revelation of the 70 weeks. 539 BC. At the beginning of the Persian administration, the divine messenger stood up to confirm and strengthen Darius. This suggests that the kingdoms of the world are under demonic control. Their human rulers can be delivered from that control and used for a higher purpose by God as he sees fit. Now here, the 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than them all. Greece, and the 4th shall be far richer than them all. By his strength through his riches he shall stir up against the realm of Greece. So Darius under Cyrus was followed by Cambyses from 530 to 522 BC. Gaumata, 522 BC. Darius the First, 522 to 486 BC. And Xerxes, 486 to 465 BC, who was the richest king of all due to his conquest and severe taxation. Behold, 3 more kings shall arise in Persia. I'm going to look it up so you guys can see. Not just, what is this guy doing in his Bible? Daniel, vision, Persia. Well, that is very clear. I remember the bear with the ribs. That's who he was. That's who he was conquering, right? The 3 ribs in his mouth. Daniel vision, ram and goat. Let me see. Yeah, the little horn of the goat was Daniel describes a ram with 2 horns. Interestingly, one horn grew higher than the others. In verse, right? So that signified how Persia was higher, more powerful than Media. In verse 20, the archangel Gabriel tells Daniel that the ram with 2 horns represents the kings of Media and Persia. Historically, Persia represented the higher horn since it was the dominant power of the Medo-Persian Empire. A male goat with a large horn between his eyes suddenly arises from the west and smashes both the horns of the ram. This is Greece, talking about Greece now. Yeah, okay, so I don't think there was something like this, but I was thinking of, so many horns we were talking about, I got confused. With the 3 horns arising, I thought there was going to be something like that, but there wasn't. But there was, I believe, a 1 to 4 horns, right? With Alexander. I think that's what this was, right? The 4 divisions. The large horn being broken represents the Alexander's untimely death at the young age. Did it break into 4? Well, I don't know. We can check back in yesterday's Bible study. I don't want to spend too much time on that. I confirmed what I was looking for, that there was no horn symbolism or representation work with what I'm looking at right here for Persia, with the 3 more kings.
Firm and strengthen him. And now I will tell you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than them all. By his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece. Then a mighty king shall arise, who shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. And when he has arisen, his kingdom shall be broken up and divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, but not among his posterity, nor according to his dominion with which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be uprooted, even for others besides these. Also the king of the south shall become strong, as well as one of his princes, and he shall gain power over him and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion.
So let me look at this. Let me look at my Bible here. So this king of the... Okay, so having predicted that there would be 4 divisions of the Greek kingdom, the angel here speaks of 2 of them. The Syrian kingdom just north of Palestine and the Egyptian kingdom to the south. The first king of the south, that is Egypt, was Ptolemy the first Soter. I think that's how you say it. One of his princes refers to Seleucus Nicator.
And he shall gain power over him and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. And at the end of some years they shall join forces. For the daughter of the king of the south shall go to the king of the north to make an agreement. But she shall not retain the power of her authority.
So the daughter refers to Berenice, the daughter of Ptolemy Philadelphus of Egypt. The king of the north refers to Antiochus II Theos of Syria.
And neither he nor his authority shall stand, but she shall be given up with those who brought her, and with him who begot her, and with him who strengthened her in those times. But from a branch of her roots one shall arise in his place, who shall come with an army, enter the fortress of the king of the north, and deal with them, and prevail. And he shall also carry their gods captive to Egypt. with their princes and their precious articles of silver and gold. And he shall continue more years than the king of the north.
Who is this guy? So, the branches of her roots refer to the brother of Berenice, Ptolemy III, Euergetes, who conquered the king of the north, Seleucus Callinicus of Syria. Ptolemy III returned to Egypt with a great booty and outlived Seleucus by 6 years. Seleucus attempted an attack on Egypt, but returned to Syria without accomplishing his purpose. Let me look up another commentary. This is a lot of information. This is why we've been This is why we've been bumping a chapter to the next. But we're getting through 12 today. We got to. Daniel. All right, here we go. They shall join forces. Joined by marriage, the kings of the north and the south would be allies for a while, but their arrangements would not last. This was fulfilled in the marriage between Antiochus II and Berenice. Yep, just what my Bible said. There was peace for a time because of this marriage, but it was upset when Ptolemy II died. Once Ptolemy II died, Antiochus II put away Berenice and took back his former wife, Laodice. So she shall not retain the power of her authority. Laodice didn't trust her husband Antiochus II, so she had him poisoned. Neither he nor his authority shall stand. After the murder of Antiochus II, Laodice had Berenice, her infant son, and her attendants killed. She shall be given up with those who brought her. After this reign of terror, Laodice set her son, Seleucus II, on the throne of the Syrian domain. Who shall come with an army? But from a branch of her roots one shall arise in his place, who shall come with an army. The angel told Daniel that a branch of her roots would come from the south and prevail over the kings of the north. This was fulfilled in the person of Ptolemy III, who was the brother of Berenice, the branch of her roots. Avenging the murder of his sister, Ptolemy III invaded Syria and humbled Seleucus II. He shall continue more years than the king of the north. Ptolemy III lived 4 years past Seleucus II. Man, these prophecies, they're being fulfilled like very detailed.
Egypt, with their princes and their precious articles of silver and gold. And he shall continue more years than the king of the north. Also, the king of the north.
Like, I can imagine if you're going into this without any commentaries and you're trying to figure it out on your own, and then you're seeing all the puzzle pieces align perfectly, like that must be a really awesome feeling.
Shall come to the kingdom of the king of the south, but shall return to his own land. However, his sons shall stir up strife and assemble a multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come and overwhelm and pass through. Then he shall return to his fortress and stir up strife.
So the sons of Seleucus Callinicus were Seleucus III, Seleucus III Serenus, and Antiochus III the Great. The sons of the king of the north would continue the battle. One of the sons would conquer the Holy Land, overwhelm and pass through, which stood as a buffer between the kings of the south and the kings of the north. This was assembling a multitude of great forces. This was fulfilled in Seleucus III and Antiochus III, the two sons of Seleucus II. Both were successful generals, but Seleucus III ruled over a short time and was succeeded by his brother. In a furious battle, Antiochus III took back the Holy Land from the dominion of the Ptolemies. A lot of history here. And I can't verify this or that because I'm not familiar with the history.
Overwhelm and pass through. Then he shall return to his fortress and stir up strife. And the king of the south shall be moved with rage, and go out and fight with him, with the king of the north, who shall muster a great multitude. But the multitude shall be given into the hand of his enemy. When he has taken away the multitude, his heart will be lifted up, and he will cast down tens of thousands, but he will not prevail. For the king of the north will return and muster a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come at the end of some years with a great army and much equipment. Now, in those times...
So, the king of the north is Antiochus III. He assembled a great army and attacked Egypt in 201 BC. The king of the south is Ptolemy IV, Philopator. He defeated the king of the north, Antiochus III, in the Great War at Raphia in 217 BC.
Many shall rise up against the king of the south. Also, violent men of your people shall exalt themselves in fulfillment of the vision, but they shall fall. So the king of the north shall come and build a siege mound, and take a fortified city. And the forces of the south shall not withstand him. Even his choice troops shall have no strength to resist. But he who comes against him shall do according to his own will, and no one shall stand against him. He shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his power. He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him. Thus shall he do. And he shall give him the daughter of women to destroy it. But she shall not stand with him, or be for him. After this he shall turn his face to the coastlands, and shall take many. But a ruler shall bring the reproach against them to an end. And with the reproach removed, he shall turn back on him. Then he shall turn his face toward the fortress of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall, and not be found.
So let me take it back. Take it back. Now in those times many shall rise up against the king of the south. Also violent men of your people shall exalt themselves in fulfillment of the vision, but they shall fall. Many shall rise up indicates that the others, like Philip V of Macedonia, helped Antiochus fight against the king of the south, Ptolemy V Epiphanes of Egypt. The violent men of your people refer to the Jews who tried to help Antiochus bring to pass what had been predicted in the vision of chapter 8, but failed. The king of the north, Antiochus, defeated the fortified city of Sidon in 198 BC. I need something visual here. Ram, goat, Medo Persia, Greece. Daniel chapter 8 is right here. But I want a little bit more. 11. Where's 11? Daniel 11 is all talking about all this. What's up here? So, here we go. I'm going to put this in the description. What is this? Oh, there's a whole video going through it. That might be cool. Let me keep going for now.
Even his choice troops. So the king of the north shall come and build a siege mound and take a fortified city. And the forces of the south shall not withstand him. Even his choice troops shall have no strength to resist. But he who comes against him shall do according to his own will. And no one shall stand against him. He shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his power. He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him. Thus shall he do. And he shall give him the daughter of women to destroy
we read
it.
all this. What am I doing?
But she shall bring the fortress of him imposes taxes on the glorious king in his place, one who imposes own land. But he shall stumble and fall, and not be found. There shall arise in his place one who imposes taxes on the glorious kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, but not in anger or in battle. And
let me read what my Bible's got to say. So, the glorious land refers to Israel. The control of Palestine passed from Egypt to Syria. We talked about that yesterday as well. Antiochus III's daughter, Cleopatra, was given in marriage to Ptolemy V Epiphanes of Egypt in order to destroy or undermine Egypt, but Cleopatra sided with her husband over her father. Antiochus III, that was in 17, right here, right? He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and the upright ones with him. Thus shall he do. And he shall give him the daughter of women to destroy it, but she shall not stand with him or before him. Antiochus III undertook a vigorous campaign into Asia Minor and the Aegean region. A ruler, the Roman Lucius Cornelius Scipio, defeated Antiochus. Having lost all that he had gained, Antiochus returned to his own land, where he was defeated and killed while trying to plunder a temple. man, it's just like, if you knew your history and you read this, just seeing all the pieces line up, that must be so cool. They shall arise in his place. I'm looking at verse 20, or chapter 20. They shall arise in his place, one who imposes taxes on the glorious kingdom. Seleucus IV, Philopator, Antiochus' son, took his father's place. The glorious kingdom refers to Israel again. But within a few days he shall be destroyed. Antiochus ruled for 37 years. Seleucus ruled for only 11 years. But it says within a few days. And I know days can be years in prophecy. That should just be a few years then, not 11 years. So that, I don't know how that lines up.
But not in anger or in battle. And in his place shall arise a vile person, to whom they will not give the honor of royalty. But he shall come in peaceably, and seize the kingdom by...
The vile person refers to Antiochus IV Epiphanes, who seized the throne through treachery.
Intrigue. With the force of a flood, they shall be swept away from before him and be broken.
The they shall be swept away is probably a reference to the Egyptians. The prince of the covenant refers to Onias III, the high priest in Jerusalem, who bore that title. Well, we'll get to that. But see, the force of a flood, with the force of a flood, not necessarily a flood, but the force of a flood. And we likened Babylon coming to invade Egypt like a flood. So you can see how the two, how that can work right there.
They shall be swept away from before him and be broken. And also the prince of the covenant. And after the league is made with him, he shall act deceitfully, for he shall come up and become strong with a small number of people. He shall enter peaceably, even into the richest places of the province, and he shall do what his fathers have not done, nor his forefathers. He shall disperse among them the plunder, spoil, and riches, and he shall devise his plans against the strongholds, but only for a time.
So that he is referring Antiochus IV Epiphanes, right? And by shall disperse, it means Antiochus took from the rich and gave to the poor. So he's like a Robin Hood type guy, looks like.
He shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall devise plans against him. Yes, those who eat of the portion of his delicacies shall destroy him. His army shall be swept away, and many shall fall down slain. Both these kings' hearts shall be bent on evil, and they shall speak lies at the same table. But it shall not prosper, for the end will still be at the appointed time. While returning to his land with great riches, his heart shall be moved against the holy covenant. So he shall do damage and return to his own land.
So, the king of the south at this time was Ptolemy Philometor of Egypt. And those who eat his delicacies, right? The trusted counselors of Ptolemy Philometor who ate at his table betrayed him. Both Antiochus and Ptolemy resorted to deceit and betrayal in working out truce arrangements. Right, we saw that in 27. Both these kings' hearts shall be bent on evil, and they shall speak lies at the same table.
At the same table, but it shall not prosper, for the end will still be at the appointed time. While returning to his land with great riches, his heart shall be moved against the holy covenant, so he shall do damage and return to his own land.
So return and go toward the south. After learning that Ptolemy the fifth, or Ptolemy the sixth, and Ptolemy the seventh had formed a union against him, Antiochus returned to Egypt in 168 BC. Cyprus here refers to Rome in 30. Oh, we didn't get to 30 yet.
At the appointed time he shall return and go toward the south, but it shall not be like the former or the latter. For ships from Cyprus shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved, and return in rage against the holy covenant, and do damage.
So Cyprus here refers to Rome. When the Romans forced Antiochus to depart from Egypt, he unleashed his frustration on the holy covenant, that is, Israel.
So he shall return and show regard for those who forsake the holy covenant, and forces shall be mustered by him, and they shall defile the sanctuary fortress. Then they shall take away the daily sacrifices, and place there the abomination of desolation. Those who do wickedly against the covenant, he shall corrupt with flattery. But the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. And those of the people who understand shall instruct many. Yet for many days they shall fall.
We talked
by
about
sword
Antiochus
and
being
flame,
like parallel to
by
the Antichrist
captivity
yesterday,
and plundering.
doing these things.
Now, when they fall, they shall be aided with a little help. But many shall join with them by intrigue, and some of those of understanding shall fall to refine them, purify them, and make them white, until the time of the end, because it is still for the appointed time. Then the king shall do according to his own will. He shall exalt and magnify himself above every god, shall speak blasphemies against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the wrath has been accomplished. For what has been determined shall be done. He shall regard neither the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any god, for he shall exalt himself above them all. But in their place he shall honor a God of fortresses, and a God which his fathers did not know he shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus he shall act against the strongest fortresses.
So God of fortresses, the king of verse 36 will not regard any god except the God of power. A God which his fathers did not know is probably a reference to self-worship.
With a foreign God, which he shall and pleasant things. Thus he shall act against the strongest fortresses with a foreign God, which he shall acknowledge and advance its glory. And he shall cause them to rule over many, and divide the land for gain. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter the countries, overwhelm them, and pass through. He shall also enter the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape from his hand: Edom, Moab, and the prominent people of Ammon, He shall stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. He shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. Also the Libyans and Ethiopians shall follow at his heels.
Did this happen?
But
My Bible
news
stopped
from the
talking
east
about.
and the north
Stop giving historical
shall
dates.
trouble him. Therefore he shall go out with great fury to destroy and annihilate many. And he shall plant the tents of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and no one will help him.
Yeah. No one's going to help him. The king of the south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind. Prophetically speaking, a precise identification of people as mentioned is difficult. The king of the south may be Egypt or represent the Arab community. The king of the north may be the Antichrist domain as the new Antiochus Epiphanes, or it may be Russia. So my commentary in my Bible is saying, yeah, it's Antiochus, but here this commentary is saying, hey, it could be this, it could be that. The precise points may be cloudy, but the general idea is clear. The end will be marked by great conflict, culminating in the world's armies gathering in the promised land to do final battle. So this is referring to the latter days, right? The end of times. That's kind of odd because we were just following them through the years. How did we jump to the end? At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him. So we're still talking about the same him. So, again, with these prophecies, we got to take a deeper look. But even this commentator says it's hard to say which is what, who is what are we talking about. And that's probably why my Bible stopped giving specifics. Because we're not sure. The king of verse 36, which was, what was 36? Then the king shall do according to his own will. He shall exalt and magnify himself above every god. The king, many ancient and modern interpreters have concluded that at this point, a new person, the Antichrist, is introduced. But why are we not? Why it doesn't flow like that in the writing. It seems like we're talking about the same king. The king is distinguished from the king of the north in verse 40. Therefore, he cannot be Antiochus Epiphanes. Oh, he was? 40. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind. Ah. Okay. So that's a little bit of evidence to suggest that this guy, we might be talking about somebody else, the Antichrist maybe. And if we are switching to that, then I can see, okay, we're not talking about sometime in this time. We literally are talking about at the time of the end. But yeah. That's a lot. That is a lot. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what's been happening. See, we hit an hour 23 minutes. That's what I've been saying with these we're finishing 12. But that's what I've been saying with all these prophecies and visions. They're taking a lot of time, and I'm still not coming to any solid conclusion because there's just so much to get into, you know? But it seems like the consensus here is this latter part of chapter 11 is talking about the future, talking about the end times, talking about the Antichrist. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm not 100%. I'm not sure yet. It's going to take further reading. I'm going to have to come back and read again. But for now, let's jump into chapter 12. Wait, did we finish 11?
And pleasant things. Come, he shall any countries shall be overthrown to his end, and no one.
Yeah, we did finish. Okay. "12 is short, so.
At that time.
But it is another prophecy, so we'll see how long this takes.
Michael shall stand up, the great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time. And at
So what does that mean? The great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. So ever since there was a nation, there's never been anything like this.
At that time your people shall be delivered, every one who is found written in the book.
So once it gets to this crazy level of insanity, of so much amount of trouble where it's never been like that before, that's when we'll be delivered.
And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. Those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the firmament, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But you, Daniel,
So by saying here, at that time, Michael shall stand up, that means we were talking about the end of times prior to this, in chapter 40 and whatnot. I mean, verse 40 of chapter 11. So I can see why they said, okay, here at this point we're making a switch. They're making a switch to the Antichrist, and we're not talking about the king of the north, Antiochus, anymore. Because we are jumping to the end of times here. This is not talking about back then.
Ever and ever. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase.
Daniel
Then
can
I,
seal the
Daniel,
book?
looked, and there stood two others, one on this riverbank, and the other on that riverbank. And one said to the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river,
How long shall the fulfillment of these wonders be?
That's all of our questions.
When I heard the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand to heaven, and swore by him who lives forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and half a time, And when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered, all these things shall be finished. Although I heard, I did not understand.
Yeah.
Then I said, my Lord.
Because we saw that it said time and half time could be in 3 years. Some commentaries were 3.5 years. But I don't think so. Let's see what my Bible's got to say about that. 7:12, 12:7. So, as Daniel stood beside the Tigris River, he saw 3 persons, one on each side of the river and one above the river. The 2 others refer to 2 angels, different from the ones Daniel had already seen. The man clothed in the linen may be the pre-incarnate Christ. How long refers to the duration of the trials. Daniel was not asking when the events would begin. Oh, okay. I thought he was asking when the events would begin. How long shall the fulfillment of these wonders be? At a time, times, and half a time, which adds up to 3.5 years. Okay, so that's how they're making it fit. The tribulation is going to be 3.5 years. How long shall the fulfillment of these wonders be? What wonders? The raising of the dead. So I can see because that takes place after the tribulation. So I can see that interpretation there as well.
And half a time. And when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered, all these things shall be finished. Although I heard, I did not understand. Then I said, my Lord, what shall be the end of these things?
Go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Many shall be purified, made white and refined, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away, and the abomination of desolation is set up.
And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up. What is the abomination of desolation? The abomination of desolation. The abomination of desolation. One such prophecy, the abomination of desolation, appears throughout the history and in the age to come. The Antichrist figure who sets up an abomination in the place of worship has been a role throughout history. Okay, just give me a simple, short answer real quick because we are at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Mentioned also in Matthew 24:15, this is one of the signs of the end, when the Antichrist sets up an abomination in the holy place and will command the people to worship it. This object of disgust and idol will cause desolation, causing those in Judea to flee to the mountains. In history, this abomination was an idol. More on that later in this article. But in the case of the end of days, the Antichrist will set himself up as the idol for the people to worship. I'm going to throw this in the description for you guys to check out. So, from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. From the time that daily sacrifice is taken away, is that when Jesus was sacrificed? There's It should be 1,290 days. Various interpretations have been suggested for this number of days. One significant interpretation is that these days refer to the middle of a 7-year period of tribulation prior to the coming of Christ. At that time, the Antichrist will abolish the abominable and idolatrous sacrifices that he had established. $1,290 days. It is difficult to say what the relationship is between the 3.5 years mentioned in many places and the 1,335 days mentioned here. We could say that at the end of the 1,260 days, Jesus returns. At the end of the 1,290 days, Jesus' government is officially installed. At the end of the 1,335 days, the nations are judged. Man, so much we have to look into. It is quite possible that this period of judgment of those that have lived through the tribulation period and have survived somehow during this Holocaust, when God's judgment will be poured out upon the earth, when they are brought to stand before Jesus at this judgment, that this judgment of the Lord will take a 45-day period.
Way, and the abomination of desolation is set up. There shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. But you go your way till the end.
So it can't be prophetic prophetic days in the sense like, a day for a year. So blessed is he who waits. You can't wait 1,335 days. So they probably are talking days.
For you shall rest, and will arise to your inheritance at the end of the days.
So saying Daniel is going to arise at the end of days, like it says in Revelation, to his inheritance, heaven. Man, this is a lot. Literally Daniel, pretty much the entirety of Daniel, we got to go back and look into in depth. There's a lot here. Holy. It sucks that I can't come to any sort of conclusion in these Bible studies, because it's just so much. So much we have to look into. A lot of material to go over. And we're already almost at 1 hour 40 minutes. So I'm going to stop here. We at least finished Daniel 12. So we finished Daniel, but I don't feel satisfied because there's so much I didn't grasp, But anyways, tomorrow we'll jump into Hosea. Like I said, we're gonna come back to Daniel. We gotta come back to Daniel and look into each topics in its own video. But that's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's reading. I know it was confusing, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you guys think? How would you interpret certain aspects? I'm gonna put all these commentaries in the description for you guys to check out also, so you can look at it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about Daniel. It's a hard book. Definitely is a hard book, but it's also very interesting. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Tomorrow we'll jump into Hosea. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.